Hello, Genevieve. I don't know if you know, but we had some news coming right from the horse's mouth. Kevin Feige just had to make an excuse, had to talk about WandaVision, had to discuss why Person X and Person Y didn't show up in the show. We all know why. Because the showrunner didn't know anything about the universe, didn't know anything about MCU, didn't know anything about reading the comics, didn't know anything about the main villains that might show up and go against WandaVision. Wanda, aka Scarlet Witch. So, we're going to talk about this article where he basically virtue signals like a crazy person, and people are jumping all over it. It's just insane. So, this is an interview he did for Rolling Stone. And basically, it talks about how Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange almost appeared in WandaVision. And it says how, let's see, let's just get in the article. So, the main push of this whole thing is that, oh, this would have taken away from Wanda's struggle. It would have done this whole thing. Let's just get to the actual quote here. So the story of WandaVision's main character, Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, played by Elizabeth Olsen, is set to continue in 2020's or 2022's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but the two projects were almost linked much more directly. As Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige reveals in Rolling Stone's upcoming extensive oral history of WandaVision, because it needed that, Marvel struck a deal with Benedict Cumberbatch to appear in the final episode of the show as Doctor Strange, but late in the process, they wrote him out. And here was Feige goes. Some people might say, "Oh, it would have been cool, so cool to see Doctor Strange," but late said, but it would have taken away from Wanda, which is what we didn't want to do. We didn't want the end of the show to be commoditized to go to the next movie. Here's the white guy. Let me show you how power works. That meant that the Doctor Strange movie too had to be written. In the end, Feige says Marvel's process is a wonderful combination of very dedicated coordination and chaos. Chaos magic. Mm. And it says here, at one point, back when Doctor Strange was supposed to be part of the story, the inverse commercials were going to be messages from Strange to Wanda, and there was also talk of having Cumberbatch appear in one of the ads. Head writer Jack Schaefer says. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Olsen is pushing back on criticism that Wanda got off too easy by flying away without punishment after she forced an entire town of people into her sitcom fantasy world. She had to get away before the people who have to hold her accountable got there, she says. And where she went is a place that no one could find her because she knows that she's going to be held accountable, and I think she has a tremendous amount of guilt. So she ran away like a coward. She took off like a villain, like a criminal. She just took off. She knew she was going to get in trouble. It was the bad child who got. But they don't paint her that way in the show. They literally have the character, the new Captain Marvel type character, basically tell her they'll never know what she went through. Yeah, they will because they lived her nightmares every night. Every time they slept, all they got was her nightmares and everything else. And they were saying, if you can't release this thing, kill us, was one of the lines from the show. And my frustration with this is that this I don't believe this was ever going to happen. People are going to say it happened. If Benedict gets asked, he'll say that yeah, he was signed to do work for the show, but he never was. This is straight up a virtue signal. This is him going full woke and saying, "Oh yes, we would have had this, but it was too much mansplaining going on with that ending. We didn't want to take away her power." What power? The power of her ability to kill and maim and torture people that live in her town, even if they survive whatever death or whatever happens to them. It's like I don't understand why they have to do this. I don't understand why Marvel is skewing so hard this direction right now. They had a great 10 years where they made 19 movies to culminate in Endgame, and it was not a great movie. It was an enjoyable movie. It was a fun movie. It wasn't very. It was not great. On the objective end of the scale. And I enjoyed it, but there was so much going on. There's so little that had to happen. Even in Endgame though, like there was things like basically what was his name? What's the name of the character? Star Lord getting treated like total shite the entire movie. Like anytime he showed the movie, he just got treated like crap. He got beat up. He got kneed in the balls. It's like why? Why are you doing this? And anyways, my point is talking about this. I want to know why they have moved so hard in this direction when they were so successful before now. Is it because they simply are seeing Hollywood lean a specific direction and can't not go along with it? Do they feel that this is the only way they can remain relevant? Are they worried about being canceled, about being shamed or shunned if they don't go full woke? What's We'll have to watch some of these upcoming things. And for Feige to do this, like it was either the day of or the day after that huge trailer, because that trailer dropped yesterday for Phase 4, and there was so much emotional gravity or emotional weight to it. And so, you know, why are we here when we could be over here where this trailer is? Well, we're not there. We're not actually there. That's just something cobbled together to get people excited to talk about escapism when they are doing nothing of the sort by adding all this diversity, all this not equality but equity to basically force things into their new version of the MCU. It's not the MCU anymore at this point. It's totally moved past that to something much more dangerous. It's now become this walking advertisement because the because the MCU is popular, so a lot of the normies are going to start seeing all this stuff in the movies, and it's gonna cripple the ability for the movie for theaters to come back, for movies to come back. They're gonna see these and they're gonna get upset and they're gonna get frustrated with it, just like how people that are actually paying attention to it more closely are now, with things like Wandavision, with things like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, basically going full woke, doing things, turning people that should be terrorists and villains into um, misunderstood heroes. Misunderstood. They're misunderstood. They don't need. They're not. Don't call them terrorists. That's just. That's denigrating. That's. You gotta do better. Yeah. So, anyways, that's all I gotta say about that. I'm just frustrated with Feige talking about Benedict Cumberbatch appearance like it was a thing, when it's just a virtue signal to get people interested in the show, to get people interested in the new direction the MCU is taking. Thanks, Gary from Neurotic. So, but what do you guys all think? Do you feel this is do you think this is legit? Was Doctor Strange ever going to appear in this show, or was it just a thing where they they just decided they would say they had this in mind because it fits a narrative that they're currently trying to push? Let me know in the comments below. But if you did enjoy the video, please give it a like. If you like this type of content, please subscribe to the channel, share it out with all your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.